morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm State Representative Jennifer Loon. I am Chair of the House Education Finance Committee. And you're going to be hearing from me and a lot of really smart people and advocates and benefits of the Early Learning Scholarship Program. I was proud to author that initial bill back in 2011, and that we've grown our scholarship commitment as one of our important strategies to help close and eliminate the achievement gap or the opportunity gap for children in Minnesota. And the House Republicans have renewed our commitment to early learning scholarships as part of our education bill as a really important strategy for continuing that effort and targeting those children most at risk and the children who benefit most from this quality early learning experiences. The Minnesota model, and that's really what it's become known as nationwide, is recognized for both our research-based approach and our targeting of resources, again, to those low-income families and children most at risk. We've used these practices to assure that we're reaching the children who benefit, that we can make sure that those children who may fall into that opportunity gap are receiving the learning opportunities, quality-oriented, that they need to make sure that they're ready for kindergarten. And of course, this pays great dividends down the road as they come into kindergarten ready with the rest of their peers to learn, to be successful, to go on to read well by third grade, and hopefully successfully graduate from high school and have wonderful and rewarding careers beyond that. So our approach is reasonable, it's logical, it's compassionate, and it's fiscally responsible to make sure that we're targeting our resources to the children who benefit most and to those who truly need it. And so, the governor has a separate approach. He's really looking more at pre-K for all 4-year-olds within our public schools. And I want to say that I'm a big advocate and supporter of our public schools. They are a very important provider of early learning opportunities for children. But our approach in using the scholarship model reinforces the importance of parent choice in making sure that they can choose the quality early learning program that best suits their child and their family's needs. And again, making sure that we're getting to those kids who need it most. Right now, the voluntary pre-K program that's in place, about 3,300 children being served, 74 school districts. Approximately 78% of the children in those programs fall into those income requirements or below the low income. We use the free and reduced price lunch standard. The expansion that the governor proposes would only have cumulatively about 54% of students. And so with that kind of investment of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, we are still leaving a lot of low-income children behind and benefiting 4-year-olds that more than likely are going to be ready for kindergarten. And there's, we certainly want all children to be educated, to have really enriching early learning opportunities. But many low-income children are missing out, and until we've addressed those needs, that's where I feel we should be targeting our efforts. So we've got a wonderful lineup for you this morning to talk about this and why it's working and why we want to continue it. But the most important advocates of this are parents, and we have Alexandria, who is here with us today to tell you about her family and her experience.
Hi, my name is Alexandria. I have 2 children that's in child care right now. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. The scholarship has been beneficial to me because I work full-time, but I also attend college. If I didn't have the scholarship for both of my children, I would not be able to work or, do the things outside of work as far as school, so I can be able to succeed and show my children what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to leave behind for them. The positive changes that it's made for particularly my son, he was a premature baby, and once he got to, say, about 2 years old, I started to see like a development delay where he would just babble and not really talk any. So the teachers that he had at that time and that he still has, they worked with him, one-on-one to get him to where he needs to be. And now this year he'll be going into the pre-K program. I think it's very beneficial to not just me, but a lot of other parents that can't pay, the full fees of childcare. But that's all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I think we have another parent that's just joined us. Please come on up, share your story.
Hi, my name is Randy Anaya. I live in Minneapolis, and I have 3 children. 2 of my children, Manolo and Maria, received the Think Small Scholarship to attend Joyce Preschool in Minneapolis. Manolo is 5, and Maria is almost 4. Since my kids have started attending Joyce, I've seen them flourish socially and make friends from many different cultures and socioeconomic backgrounds. Joyce is a dual immersion language school, which has given my kids the opportunity to connect with their heritage, culture, and the Spanish language, which was at risk of being lost in their generation. If we didn't have access to the scholarship, life would be very different for us. The scholarship gives our family a level of sustainability, as my husband works 24-hour shifts as a firefighter, and I'm a full-time student pursuing my teaching license. If we didn't have access to Joyce Preschool, my kids wouldn't be a part of the large supportive network that they are, and I personally wouldn't have the support and friendship from other multicultural families, which I have found to be highly valuable. My son is going to a dual immersion kindergarten next year, and I have no worries whatsoever that he is ready, and I know that that is due to the high-quality experience that he has been given by receiving access to preschool.
Thank you. Now I'd like to turn the podium over to Art Rolnick, who is really instrumental in pioneering the research to prove that early learning scholarships work and that they are a very taxpayer-effective way to, again, to resolve that achievement gap and to make sure that we're investing in the children who gain most from this important early learning opportunities.
Thank you. So I'm Art Rolnick, and for 25 years, I was Senior Vice President, Director of Research at the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. Currently, I'm a Senior Fellow at the Humphrey School of Public Affairs. I serve on several national and state early advisory panels, including Governor Mark Dayton's Council of Early Childhood Children, and I serve on Mayor Betsy Hodges' advisory panel. Good news and bad news. The bad news is that we have a serious education and economic problem. We have what is called the largest achievement gap in the country. The good news is we have a proven solution: early learning scholarships. Now, most academics are careful when they use that word proven. We usually say our research is suggestive. In this case, I'm going to argue the research is overwhelming that we know how to do this and we can correct this problem. So Rob Grunwald and I, a number of years ago, took a look at longitudinal studies, 30, 40-year studies for kids who had high-quality programs compared to kids who didn't. And we calculated an 18% inflation-adjusted return by investing in our most vulnerable children. And most of this return was a public return. So the research said we should be able to do this. But Minnesota showed that, in fact, we can do it. In fact, it works. When I say Minnesota showed this, it was the business community created an organization called the Minnesota Early Learning Foundation, raised $20 million privately because they bought what Rob and I were selling, early learning scholarships, empowering parents, because the research is clear. You get these results when you get parents empowered and engaged. And we did our first pilot in St. Paul in Frogtown. We brought in an outside evaluator, Stanford Research Institute, SRI, and sure enough, we were getting the kind of results that the research suggested we should get. In fact, it was so successful that we received a significant amount of money from Race to the Top, the federal money, and with leadership of Governor Mark Dayton, we received a significant amount of money from the state. And so we are now statewide with our scholarships, and the scholarships, I should add, included a rating system. The scholarships have to be used at a quality rating system. So the MELF created the scholarships and what's known as Parent Aware, our rating system. Okay, so it's now gone statewide, Parent Aware, and our scholarships in particular. We have 4 transformation zones, we call them, which includes Frogtown, North Minneapolis, White Earth, Itasca County. It's working in every one. We're getting incredible results. It doesn't matter where the parents live, what the religion are, what the culture is, whatever. Parents are parents. You empower parents, watch out. These kids will succeed. So that's the case I'm making. And why are scholarships, why do we argue they're so cost-effective, the best solution? They're targeted. Again, what's the problem? The problem is too many of our vulnerable kids don't succeed in school. This directly attacks the problem. It empowers and engages parents, critical. It utilizes all resources. There's no argument to make this public school only. We have great Montessori programs, New Horizon, KinderCare. They mentioned Joyce Preschool. We need all hands on deck. We need all infrastructure, and we need these parents to decide for themselves what program works best. So scholarship utilizes all resources. It's market-based, which implies that we use the power of the market to generate infrastructure. And lastly, it is easy to scale. Bringing scholarships to every child born into poverty is relatively easy to do with very little bureaucracy. So let me be clear. This problem will not be solved by simply adding a new grade to public schools. Indeed, it will fail. To succeed, we need to empower parents, not schools. Universal pre-K is too expensive, too late, too little, and will miss the mark as most of the funding will go to wealthier families. I'm going to quote James Heckman, Nobel laureate, University of Chicago. Subsidizing wealthy families is an expensive waste of public money. We cannot afford to leave 40,000 low-income kids behind. We must prioritize. So I commend the House leaders for putting low-income children first. I recommend substantially increasing Minnesota's level of investment to a level that serves all low-income 3- and 4-year-olds and thousands of younger children who are homeless, abused, and in foster care. And if we can do that, this would be a truly historic year for Minnesota's most vulnerable children, for Minnesota's future workforce, and for Minnesota's future economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Next, Barb Faber with White Earth Childcare.
Good morning. I'm an administrator of the Race to the Top Early Learning Scholarships and also the State Early Learning Scholarships. And I've had the privilege to see how beneficial they are to families. They're flexible, they empower the parents, and they're able to allow children to go into high-quality early childhood setting. And we're in greater Minnesota, and that is a huge need. And I think if you look at Dr. Todd Risley's research, children from low-income families arrive at kindergarten with less vocabulary than children from middle-income families. Middle-income families arrive with a 20,000-word vocabulary. Children from low-income families, especially those of color, are arriving with 3,000 to 4,000 words vocabulary, and the achievement gap starts there. So the scholarships are for 0 to 5, and those 0 to 3 years are critical to make a difference in that achievement gap. That achievement gap is almost impossible to make up if we don't start early. And I do want to thank the governor. He's been advocate for children, and he's put Minnesota on the map for caring for children, and especially starting the early learning scholarships. But I've had many parents come in and just thank us for providing the scholarship to them so they can go to work. It's flexible. Children need, their children need full-time, full-year services. And that is where these scholarships have been extremely flexible for our families, and it empowers the parents to go to college, go to work. And so, thank you.
All right, next I'd like Doug Baker to come forward. Doug has been a longtime board member for MELF and now Close Gaps by 5.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. Well, I have a couple of comments. So I run Ecolab and have been very active in a number of issues, most notably running my company. But what's that take? It takes people and talented people, ultimately, for two reasons. One, they end up becoming your customers, and two, they're typically the fuel that drives the business. The most important asset any of us have in a company is our people. So I got involved in MELF. It was really a call from Warren Staley, Rob Johnson. Cargill played a big role in forming this initiative many years ago. Spent a lot of time with Art on the MELF board, and Art was instrumental in helping us understand how do we create a virtuous cycle. And Art just described it. I think about it simply, we empower parents to do what they want to do for their kids, which is get the best for them. We provide information so they can select the best, parent aware. This creates demand in neighborhoods, and you start seeing improved daycare facilities and early education facilities being built. And so this virtuous cycle is what we aim to create. In fact, that's the Minnesota model as I understand it. And now we have a chance to continue to drive this and push it. And I think it's a very, very important time for all of us. So Art, I think, made a great case. This is an incredibly efficient, I would call it the smart thing to do. It basically targets the money where it's needed most. It has a huge outsized impact. And it also starts solving what I consider one of the great challenges in society. So we talk about income disparity. One of the great drivers of that, we all know, is its opportunity disparities. And we've got to close the achievement gap. Everybody has a right, in my mind, to a great education. What they do with it is going to be determined by them individually. But when we do not provide that to kids, we do such a huge disservice to them, to their families, to our society as a whole, that we've got to get after this. So it's not only the smart thing, it's the right thing to do. And the difference between this and UPK is, unfortunately, the unintended consequence of UPK is it's going to delay the amount of time. It's going to take a lot longer to get to all the kids who need this. Years and years and years. And we can't afford to do this any longer. And so we keep pushing this problem off. We need to get after it now. We have 40,000 kids who need these scholarships, and we need to fund them. And I think that's one of our great imperatives at the state. If we expect a great future, we've got to get after these challenges now. So that's my bent. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. And I think another one of our parents has joined us. Please take a breath, Mom. I know she's busy coming in with her little ones. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? My name is Carissa Round, and I just wanted to state that you guys helping to fund the scholarships for our children to go to four-star daycare, especially with the world that we live in right now when both parents have to work to make ends meet. It's just beneficial for the parents and for our children to go to somewhere where they can learn and parents feel that they're safe, and we know that they're safe because our children show us that they're safe and that they're comfortable being here. So I just wanted to say thank you for the scholarship that you have provided, and I just hope that it continues.
Thank you. And lastly, before we go to questions, we'll have Diane Hawley with Think Small. Thank you, Diane.
Good morning. I'm Diane Halsey, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Family Engagement at Think Small, and we are the scholarship administrator for the 7-county metro area. We've been administering state scholarships since the pilot that Art talked about. So over the years, we have administered and given out several thousand scholarships to needy families. We've been able to see how these scholarships can really change the lives of families, giving them the choice to send their child to high-quality care as opposed to piecing together care or having their employment in jeopardy because of the unstable care. The hardest part of our job, unfortunately, is when we have to turn families away, especially when we know that they are in great need, because we don't have enough funds to give out more scholarships. We often keep a wait list of many needy families that need these scholarships. And unfortunately, what happens is that those families that are most in need, families that have multiple barriers in their lives, are often the ones that come to us later. And so these are the families that will get on the wait list and will not be able to get a scholarship because the funds have been depleted for the year. So we at Think Small are very excited about the possibility of adding additional scholarship funds for these low-income families, because for us, what that'll mean is that we no longer have to turn away these families, and that we'll be able to do the work of making sure the hardest to serve families will have the ones with multiple barriers that are really struggling, will be able to have the same access to these scholarships as these parents that we have heard from today and have heard so eloquently about how it has stabilized their lives. So we are very excited about the possibility of more funds, and we'll be happy to administer them when they come.
All right, thank you, Diane. At this point, I just want to thank all of the speakers, especially the parents. It was very hard for them to get time off of work, but they wanted to come and share their story. And we'd be open it up for questions at this point.
Could you give us a rundown of what your bill contains and what the various items are that pertain to early education?
Yes, so we include almost $25 million in additional scholarship funds, $24.6 million. We devote another about $9 million in school readiness. Again, these are dollars that go to all school districts for their operations of their school readiness programs. One of the important providers, as well as with the governor's voluntary pre-K program, which was initiated last year. We're in the year one of that. What I proposed is keeping those 74 districts whole, but converting the money to school readiness from voluntary pre-K. The VPK funds are have a very strict funding formula based on per pupil, like we fund K-12. But it's a lower percentage. It's up to 0.6 of a pupil, so a percentage of a pupil, if you will. And the school readiness dollars just gives the schools a lot more flexibility, but they can still operate a program if they want to keep it the way they have this year with VPK. They can. If they want to again offer it as a more of a school readiness proposal, they could do that as well. So those are our major investments in new early childhood spending. Be happy to go through others if you wish.
Just to follow up, is that voluntary pre-K conversion to school readiness, is that in addition to the $9 million? Or
Yes.
is that what the $9 million is used for?
No, so the $9 million will go to all of the other districts who are not getting the VPK now school readiness. I call it enhanced school readiness funding.
Okay, so how much is that conversion?
That's about $40 million.
So, Chair Loon, so the press release says includes $300 million in targeted funding. Of that, is that 300 million additional dollars this year, next year, or is
No,
it?
some of it is a continuation of the things that we fund in the education arena. So Head Start, $25 million for Head Start. We've also got ECFE funding, and we give an additional $1 million to ECFE. We do some home visiting programs through education. So this is all of the funds combined that are devoted to early childhood learning.
The bulk of that is continuing what we're currently doing.
Yes, but there is, as I delineated, some new money in there as well.
What's your case for why this targeted scholarship is better than the governor's approach of early childhood education in the school system?
It's really, I think Art explained it well, is that we are reaching in to make sure that the kids who need it most are first in line to get this assistance, and that is done through the scholarship dollars. I've talked before on the House floor about equity and what equity means, and it's not necessarily giving every child the same thing. It's giving each child what they need, and for children who are born into poverty, who may not have, again, those quality early childhood experiences that we know are so important to getting them ready for kindergarten, to developing those language skills and a rich vocabulary, we need to be reaching those children, and that's what scholarships does, because you have to be of that income level, one of those high-risk children, to get the scholarships.
Reach them.
We reach them through organizations like Think Small. The Department of Education contracts with organizations to distribute the scholarships. When the program was piloted and rolled out, it was done gradually. It started with areas where the MILF pilots started, and then rolled out to the rest of the state. In some areas of rural Minnesota, that's only been in operation for a couple of years. I do think we need to do more work in terms of making sure that parents are aware that scholarships are available, that we're driving more information and more coordination about how we reach families. We've got CCAP is a program that's operated through Human Services, which actually has probably more money than we do through scholarships. There are long waiting lists. I've heard in Hennepin County it's probably 2 years or more on CCAP. for childcare funds, but there's not necessarily a coordinated effort that sends families, if the CCAP funds are not available, to the scholarship providers. We can do a much better job of that, and that's another initiative actually in the House Education Bill.
Rural Minnesota, are there parent-aware rated schools all across the state in every corner, should there be a need?
There is parent-aware rated providers throughout our state. Now, whether or not there's enough variety or enough rated programs within every corner of Minnesota, I think is a valid question. And again, I think we need to do more effort to, again, get providers into that quality rating system. It's good for their business, it's good for the kids, it's good for the parents. But more time and more effort needs to be developed into getting that in. Schools are an important provider of this, which I've always stated, but for parents who are working full-time and year-round care for their children, it's not always the best option for them. And so we need to make sure that those options, a variety of providers and options are available to parents, wherever they may live.
Just add a footnote, if the funding is there, we have commitments from providers that'll locate all over the state. Funding is a key issue. Demand will drive this. And so whether it's KinderCare, whether it's New Horizon, whether it's Montessori, whether it's the schools themselves, Minnesota needs to make this commitment, and greater Minnesota needs that infrastructure. And one way to really drive it, and it happened in St. Paul and Frogtown that didn't have very little infrastructure, but once the market learned that there were 650 families with scholarship, New Horizon opened up a brand new facility, a bunch of others expanded. So when I say market-based, market-driven, these scholarships will drive that infrastructure, but we need a commitment from the state that every child born into poverty is going to have this opportunity. The infrastructure will be there.
But as someone who watches business, in St. Paul, there are 650 kids. In some rural areas, there may not be those numbers, and creating a new school for a smaller number would be much more difficult.
We have family, friends, and neighbors that are getting 4-star rated, so there's a lots of innovation that'll take place. The market will innovate here, and they're starting to innovate. Some of our programs are teaming up with senior centers, and it's very interesting. They're doing early childhood and senior centers, and it turns out to be a great combination. So watch out for innovation if we get the kind of commitment that we need, so the funding will be there. Thank you.
Do you have enough money in the bill to wipe out the waiting list that Diane and people like her have?
Probably not.
How much do you need to do that?
Well, probably more than we have right now, but again, I think the commitment is to grow what we're able to do with scholarships, again, to make sure that we're reaching the neediest children, the children who benefit most from this funding. And, you know, we've got a month to go yet in this legislative session. There's a lot of discussion and negotiation that will go on, both between the House and the Senate and with the governor's office. So I'm confident that we can reach some good outcomes through those discussions at the end of the day that will put more funding, as we've heard the need for, into the scholarship program.
So essentially, this is just your opening bid.
You know, we'll talk about, you know, where we can get, obviously, I'll let the speaker talk to if he wants to on this. You know, budgeting is, I mean, I'm a strong advocate for the things that we're doing in our education budget, but I also am competing with a lot of other really important, valid needs for the state of Minnesota as well. So, you know, while I will advocate strongly for doing as much as we can for early learners who need it in the education bill, as well as making sure that our public schools are well-funded, you know, we will all have to look at, you know, how we address transportation and healthcare and the other myriad of important needs and priorities within the state.
Representative Loon, or maybe Speaker Dow can address this too. Governor Dayton feels equally strong about his approach with early childhood. What's the likelihood you're going to work out this difference with all the other differences that you also have to address?
I'll let the speaker address, but, you know, first of all, I just want to echo what Barb mentioned, and that is thanking the governor for his commitment to young children in poverty and to try to make sure that we are addressing their needs as a tool for closing the achievement gap. And I think his commitment has been really important in moving forward and having Minnesota be recognized by other states who are emulating, again, the Minnesota model, scholarships and a mixed delivery system of quality providers. We had these discussions 2 years ago. We resolved them with more money for scholarships and more money for school readiness. I think we could probably do something similar this year. So I personally, while he has a different approach with VPK, I think our commitments and wanting to help resolve the achievement gap for young children is very strong, and that we should be able to work this out.
You know, I think the good news here is that we're not having a conversation about whether we fund early learning in Minnesota or not. We're having a conversation about, do we use a universal pre-K model or this much more innovative, flexible scholarship model, targeted scholarship model. I think that's great news. It's great news for our youngest learners, and I think it's time that we declare war on the achievement gap in Minnesota. I feel like this has become a problem that we've taken to admiring here in St. Paul, but we really aren't willing to roll up our sleeves and do the things that we know are necessary to fix it. And the governor's approach, from our perspective, is doing more of the same. And unfortunately, that's not closing the achievement gap. So we have tried to be more innovative and find solutions that we know will work, and the data shows very strongly will work. As far as directly answering your question, Tom, we're ready to advocate to the public why we think this is a better solution. Because the data shows that this helps kids learn. This helps close the achievement gap in a much better way. It also provides much better flexibility to parents. They can couple these dollars with child care assistance dollars, and it gives them the ability to have a job and work throughout the day, where a 2.5-hour universal pre-K program does not do that. We also have concerns about funding kids in Edina that frankly don't need it, versus taking money away from kids in Minneapolis that really do need these dollars. So we're eager to have those conversations with the public, and I want to thank Representative Loon for her passion on these issues, and for assembling the great team behind us who has helped advise and really work on the solutions that are in our bill. We know that these solutions will help close the achievement gap, and we are ready to roll up our sleeves. We're ready to declare war on the achievement gap, and we want to make sure that we give these kids the tools that they need to be successful. And we're not going to wait another day to do it.
Is this an either-or question?
For us, it is. We believe so strongly that this is the right approach, that we are eager to have that conversation not only with the public but with the governor. Unfortunately, his approach just does not work. It does not. I also want to thank the governor, because I know he's very passionate about these earliest learners and making sure that we do close the achievement gap. But we need to put away all of our preconceived notions on what we think might work, and actually look at the data that shows that these are the approaches that will close the achievement gap. And frankly, these are the tools that parents need. And I love when Mr. Rolnick talks about engaging and empowering the parents and getting them engaged and involved in the education decisions. There isn't anything better that we could do for these kids than getting those parents engaged in the process. So I'm really excited about this, and we're eager not only to win over the public on these issues, but also win over the governor. We think this is the right approach.
Speaker, the governor says...
And if I can just for 1 second, Don, to answer your question too about additional funding, if we're going to spend more money, this is our number one priority. These earliest learners and the scholarship approach is our number one priority. So before, if the governor wants to spend more money, and that's a compromised position, before we spend in other areas, we want to spend here first.
So then why did you decide not to take off the cigarette inflator rather than spend more money on this? Couldn't you have just given Chair Loon a little more cash?
In the weird twist of fate in the way St. Paul works, lowering the cigarette inflator is not reducing a tax for anyone. It simply is good tax policy. We're also getting rid of the inflator on the statewide business property tax. There shouldn't be automatic inflators in place on tax policy. And of course, we have to make decisions across the entire spectrum. But we've drawn a line in the sand, and frankly, if we're going to spend more money than we are right now, it's going to be in this area.
Can I pop in on this something too? I just wanted to point out too, and perhaps Chair Loon had mentioned this, but the other concern with Governor Dayton's proposal is when our school districts come and talk to us, a lot of them are not fans of this. And so I'm not sure that there's always the engagement with the school districts and what they want. You're putting quite a burden on them because they have to find the facility to do it. They don't all have the facility to do it. They have to consider transportation costs of how they're going to deal with young children that may need a booster seat and things like that, getting them from place to place. But many of them have come to us and say, you know, this is not our number one priority for our school system. So we also have to make sure that we're keeping their considerations in mind. And I personally had my district come last week and say, this is not the direction we'd like to see it go.
But isn't it voluntary? You're
Well-
not requiring your district to do it if they don't want to do it.
Right, I'm just saying if we're going the direction that the governor would like to go in, they have concerns over it. Yeah.
I think it's important to talk about the fact that with the scholarships, I think half of the parents or even more are choosing to put their kids into a public school situation, a preschool in a public school. They have that option. But we also want to give them the option to put them in a private preschool if that works better for their own family situation. And that's the kind of flexibility that we think is the best part of what makes scholarships successful. It gets the parents involved, but it also provides them with that flexibility that will put the child into a situation where they may have daycare at the beginning or end of the day or both, which helps the parent know that their kid is taken care of throughout the day while the parents are at work and ultimately improving their own family situation. So all around, there's so many benefits to this approach.
If this is an either-or approach, is that really more flexibility? Wouldn't the most flexibility be funding pre-K and funding these early learning
Well,
scholarships?
the great news about the scholarships is if a parent wants to put the child in a public school, they can. And that's what really makes this great. We're not taking them away from a public school. If they choose to put their child in a public school program, they can do that with the scholarship dollars. If they choose to put them in a private school, they can have that flexibility. Under the governor's proposal, all kids would be in a 2.5-hour, very structured program, riding on transportation that isn't designed to carry 4-year-olds, putting them in a school that doesn't have a daycare option either before or after, and it creates all kinds of different problems for parents. So we like the flexibility and the innovation of the scholarship model, and frankly, the data shows that it works better. So why not invest in something that works? Let's if we're going to declare war on the achievement gap, let's literally do it. And let's find solutions and utilize solutions that are going to help these kids be successful.
Do we have any numbers, Chairman Loon, on how many parents have used this pre-K money, these scholarships to go put their kids in a public program?
Yeah, well, the scholarship dollars, as you might know, are kind of split into two avenues. One is Pathway One, which is the scholarships that Diane referenced, that Think Small is one of the organizations that administers. So the parents have a full flexibility and choice over. And I think it's about 30% of Pathway One scholarships that parents opt to use at a public school.
There's been a concern in the past about the per-student total cap on the amount of the scholarships. Does your bill increase that cap, or is it still an amount that some people think is uncomfortably low?
Right, and that is actually a cap that the Commissioner of Education established, and it's supposed to be based on market rate and other information that she has, so that is something that she determines. And I think there are concerns about whether or not the $7,500 is adequate, again, for parents who need full-time, year-round care. I would certainly be in favor of another look at that. We don't specifically address that currently, but as I mentioned, that early learning coordination language that is in our bill, we do want to have research in looking at establishing a cap and sort of an overall cap, if you will, because right now, various forms of funding are allowed to be combined or braided, as it's known as sort of in the area. And we're not certain how much we're investing in some families and some children per the braiding. And again, those are important questions as we look to try to make sure that we're reaching all of those children in poverty who need assistance. And if we have a cap just on the Pathway One scholarships, how is that working with all of the other programs we have? So there's some unanswered questions here that we definitely need more research on. And one of the things that we're trying very much to get at is better coordination so that we know where best to make additional investments, and also looking at the programs that are getting the best results for these high-risk learners.
In that regard, does the House budget include an increase in CCAP funding or not?
We do not fund CCAP through the education budget. That is in
the other bills?
in Health and Human Services. I don't believe so.
Does this impact the ECFE programs the districts are running?
Does it affect them? Not specifically. Now, ECFE is an important program that's in every school district through their community ed, and it's both parent learning and engagement, as well as it goes up through some preschool classes. It's a separate pot of funding from school readiness. We have had some language in the past to allow school districts to combine those, because as they find whether they have parents with higher needs for preschool classes or classes for 3- and 4-year-olds, maybe as opposed to for parents and their infants, would allow them the flexibility to do that. And that's something we'll look at as well. All right, thank you all. So, thank you so much.